Goku will meet Yamoshi's true love, and not him, but another Saiyan from the past. Very powerful. Will he be alive? What will Goku's reaction be when he learns of all this information? You're gonna find out now, so grab a bucket of popcorn and your soda, and come with me. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and comment on the video. Well, without further ado, let the story begin. In the 7th universe. Currently in the 7th universe, more precisely in a village on the planet Namek, it was possible to see Beerus, Whis, Goku, and Vegeta sitting around a table that had been destroyed by the hands of Yamoshi, who had gotten angry and ended up destroying the table. At that moment, all those present were looking at the village elder, who was called Yuhiko. Everyone was wanting to know why Yamoshi had acted that way when Vegeta questioned her about why she had not tried to stop Frieza and his father from enslaving all Saiyans. Vegeta spoke. Why did Yamoshi act like that when I asked her about why she let her race be enslaved by Frieza's worm? Asked the Prince of Saiyans while looking at the old man who was thoughtful. Yuhiko ended up sighing. Yuhiko said, "The subject is a little delicate for Yamoshi because it makes her remember the mistakes she made and her lack of courage. I'll tell you a story," Yuhiko said, looking at all those who were present there who wanted to know the true story of Yamoshi. Yuhiko spoke. "A long time ago, even before Yamoshi got the power of a goddess, she was a student at a combat academy on the planet of Saiyans. Since at the time the power of women was considered inferior to that of men, she had to endure many things. But she showed her power and persistence in front of all the other Saiyans. Among those Saiyans, there was one that, since her birth, was designated as a low-class Saiyan. This Saiyan wanted to be as strong and important as the high-class Saiyans. His name was Hiroki. Yamoshi and Hiroki ended up becoming friends during the time they lived in the academy, and over time they ended up becoming rivals, with the same dream of showing everyone that they would not let their destinies be guided by other people, and that a woman could be as strong as a man, and that a low-class Saiyan could be as powerful as a high-class Saiyan," said the elder to the guests who were paying close attention to his words. And the smartest ones, like Whis and Vegeta, had already discovered that the former passion quoted by Yamoshi before should be this Hiroki guy. Yuhiko spoke. With time, Yamoshi and Hiroki ended up becoming the strongest in the academy, being able to even face the princes of the Saiyans of the time. The king of that time had 2 twin sons, who had been born very strong for the normal standard, and they always stood out in the academy. But one day Hiroki ended up challenging the youngest of the princes, and using all his power, Hiroki managed to defeat him. But Hiroki ended up being very injured. Seeing that, the oldest prince, who was stronger than the younger one, tried to kill Hiroki, but Yamoshi didn't let him, and the two ended up getting into a frantic fight between them. Yamoshi ended up winning and showing everyone that Hiroki and Yamoshi weren't weak, said the old man before one of the employees arrived at the place and changed the table that was broken for a new one, where another employee placed some cups of tea. Yuhiko ended up taking a sip before speaking again. Vegeta thought, I know that back then the power levels of the Saiyans wasn't that great compared to the power level of the current ones. But back then, the level of power from birth and the blood that flowed through the veins of the Saiyans defined whether they would, and they become someone important or just weak soldiers who would only serve to die on the front lines. So the fact that these two defeated 2 princes who were already said to be prodigies is something very surprising. But for the nobles, it's a bad thing. After all, it was like giving a punch to the nobles, saying that someone inferior to them was actually superior, thought the Prince of Saiyans, who had received a certain level of teaching about politics in the past when the planet of Saiyans, Hiroki, and Yamoshi existed. Yuhiko said, Thanks to the victory of Hiroki and Yamoshi, most of the nobles of the Saiyan planet kept an eye on them and tried to bring Yamoshi and Hiroki to their side. Many nobles tried to make Yamoshi marry their children, and at the same time happened with Hiroki, but none of them came to accept the deal with the nobles. Over the years, a large part of the Saiyan planet knew Yamoshi and Hiroki, but Yamoshi never wanted fame or anything like that. She just wanted her strength recognized by the powerful Saiyans. But Hiroki, on the other hand, wanted more fame and power. He was blinded because of this, and seeing Yamoshi, who had more fame and recognition than him, throwing it all away made him extremely angry. So much so that many times Hiroki tried to humiliate Yamoshi, who was a strong warrior. but a naive woman who did not believe when someone spoke badly of Hiroki in front of her because of Yamoshi's head. His old friend and rival would not be able to commit such atrocities that the other Saiyan spoke, said the old man in a sad tone because Yuhiko knew how much his friends had suffered at Hiroki's hands. Yuhiko said, "More years passed, and with that Yamoshi and Hiroki ended up leaving the academy and became soldiers who roamed the universe in search of conquering unpopulated planets and going after people with great rewards on their heads. At that time the Saiyans were mercenaries and not conquerors, but with time Yamoshi reached the age to form a family, and Hiroki, for being the person she knew best, ended up becoming her suitor. And after a few years, they got married and had 2 children who ended up being killed during a battle between the Saiyans and the Arcosians. And that was the main reason for Yamoshi to face and almost extinguish the Arcosians," said the old man, surprising everyone by the fact that Yamoshi had already been married and had children in the past. After all, the information that everyone had was limited and not even Whis knew much. Goku thought, now it makes sense for Yamoshi to have faced members of Frieza's race. I remember when Black said that he had killed my wife and son Goten along with everyone I loved. I felt so angry that I couldn't think of anything other than defeating Frieza, and Yamoshi must have felt in the same way. Could it be that she was able to transform into a Super Saiyan by feeling such anger, or does Yamoshi not have Super Saiyan? Asked Goku when remembering the time when he faced Zamasu, who had killed and stolen her body in the future. Yuhiko said, after the fall of the Arcosians, Yamoshi tried to return to his normal life, but some people started to say that Hiroki cheated on Yamoshi with some noble girls, and that ended her peace, and a few years later the evil Saiyans ended up appearing, and with that Yamoshi ended up becoming a goddess for the first time, and using the power she got, Yamoshi defeated all the evil Saiyans, and so the planet entered an era of peace. But Hiroki was very jealous of her because Yamoshi had become a goddess, and he didn't. And when the second war against the evil Saiyans happened, Hiroki wanted to become a Super Saiyan god, but it didn't work out because he didn't have a pure heart. And that was obvious because the one who had caused this second war against the evil Saiyans was Hiroki. That taken by a desire of anger and envy, she ended up killing several people with a pure heart, because Hiroki thought that if he couldn't become a Super Saiyan god with a pure heart, he would corrupt his heart as much as possible, and with that he would be able to have the same power as Yamoshi. And unfortunately, Hiroki got it. Yuhiko spoke in a slightly irritated tone at the fact that so many innocents had been killed by Hiroki's dark desires. Yuhiko said, after that day, Yamoshi and Hiroki faced each other, and it was the first of many fights, because even with Yamoshi's winning, she couldn't kill Hiroki because she still loved the man and would never be able to kill him. But Hiroki wanted to kill Yamoshi anyway to prove to be superior to her. And because of that, Yuhiko spoke before being interrupted by the noise of the door being opened abruptly by Yamoshi. Yamoshi said, because of the obsessive desire that Hiroki had to kill me, he started destroying planets and killing people to get my attention and force me to face him. Because of that, I went of search in a way to hide my power. And with the help of Yuhiko's ancestors, we managed to create these thousands of barriers to hide power. And after years of destroying civilizations, Hiroki stopped because he saw that it was no longer affecting me. But I carry every planet and person he killed as a sin on my back. I will always carry it. You wanted to know my story? So now you know. Yamoshi spoke in the corner of the room, with his back against the wall, as he looked at the floor. With that, we'll end today's video. If you want to see the continuation of this incredible story, leave a lot of likes on the video and comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you another day, guys!